Yo, what's going on, everybody? BMC here, Black Manga Critic here. You already know what it is. This is a live reaction to My Hero Academia chapter 258. All right. 257 left us off with some pretty dope content. All right, had a pretty great discussion about it. Talking about the growth of Deku and what was sort of going on there. The Nomu, quite a few things. All right. So I'm really looking forward to this chapter. Also, talking about All Might as a teacher, the fact that Eraserhead is like an amazing teacher and just is kind of he like to me like he's he was like running circles around All Might in a lot of ways as a teacher. Because All Might had he was just focused on he was just like too focused on the hero thing, and he was helping Deku out, and he wasn't like a horrible teacher, but he could have been better. So we talked about that. We talked about we kind of got on Kakashi a little bit because Kakashi was kind of all right, y'all know it, Kakashi is like he's like that character that like is kind of cool because like he's just like the cool guy, like he's like the cool character, but like when we think about it in the context of the story, like Kakashi like could have done so much more for Team 7, for Sasuke, for Naruto especially. I think he did a decent amount for Sasuke, but like in particular for like Naruto, yo, could have done way more for Naruto. He's like, all right, I'm gonna let Jiraiya do that stuff. Anyways, he could have done way more for Sakura too. All right, so Kakashi, not the best teacher. All right, Eraserhead running circles around Kakashi. Even All Might's kind of running circles around Kakashi. So that's not here nor there. All right, I got my tea. All right, let me sip tea as I talk about Kakashi. All right, let's get into it. My hero time, yo. 258. All right. One of these days I'm gonna do like I think I'm gonna do like a Naruto discussion stream or a video and talk about that stuff. But anyways, my hero time. Okay. All right, let's do it. Shadi, what's good? All right. Let's get into it. Chapter 258 is entitled Friends. All right, very cool. It looks like cool cover page. One of I can't remember her name. I'm always terrible with names of like characters that I don't particularly like have like an attachment to at all. I'm just like, who was that again? Like, you know what I mean? Like I know who they are, but I just don't remember their names. But this is one of Endeavor's I guess like sidekicks, if you want to call it that. But I'll look into the name. Kind of like she's got like a Human Torch sort of like personality. Okay, let's get into it. What's up, Twice? Turning back the clock 2 months. Ooh. Okay, Horikoshi. Okay. I like this. All right. I want to see some things. All right. That happened between the time skip. All right. What's up, Twice? Hell. Oh, Red's here too. 1 week has passed since the hint about the hospital. Yo, that's what I want to talk about. Like the end. Oh man, the doctor. I'm just gonna call him the doctor. Because like there are other doctors that exist in this verse, but like he's like the doctor. He's like the most important doctor here. Besides the healer grandma. All right. Let's see. Help. Oh, Red's here too. 1 week has passed since the hint about the hospital. What should I? Okay. So Twice is like, hey, come here. What should I say? Our mission statement is. Spinner and Compress have been in meetings for days. Giran and Dabi can't be bothered. Or Jiren, I guess it's Jiren. Jiren and Dabi can't be bothered. And Toga's cute as ever. So you gotta help me out, Prof. Okay. Many in this regiment are harboring doubts. Yo, you may be a figurehead who was simply handed your position, but we ought to hear the mission statement from your own lips. So I was like, gotta take a dump. Yo, Twice funny. I like Twice a lot. Like he's one of those characters that just I just like him. You know, like he's quirky, no pun intended. You know, he's like just so much personality. Like brings like just like you know you never know what to expect from Twice. Like in terms of like you know what he's gonna say and how he's gonna say it and all that. And I think that's one of the things that I love about the character. All right. So now I'm here. So help. And yo, Hawks is just laughing. He's just like, yo, who is this guy? I love it. I love it. You do a good impression of Sanctum. He's the longest serving member of the Liberation Army. The Paranormal Liberation Front is split into regiments. The League members and former MLA commanders lead the regiment most suited to them. Okay. In a single month's time, Hawks memorized how the members are all organized. I mean, Hawks is like... You gotta love Hawks. I mean, like, at first, I didn't really like him. He just seemed kind of like, he just seemed like a douchebag. I was like, I'm not like a super fan of like too many douchebag sort of like characters. Like, I don't like them a lot, like often. There are only a few that I particularly love. Like, you know, Jing is like one of those types. Yusuke, right? But like, I think with those characters, there's always like something more. And I think, and I should have known that like with Hawks, it was something more. But I was just like, initially, I don't like this guy. He's annoying. He thinks he thinks he's amazing. But I like him. I like him a lot. He's great. The cosplays are always wonderful. He's got a great design. Very cool. Okay, let's move on. All right, so the 3 most capable members of each regiment serve as advisors to the lieutenants. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. Whew. Just getting everything organized in my head so I can sort of like not memorize it because I'm gonna be rereading these chapters like you know more than one time, but just to kind of get it like situated. All right, so the 3 most capable members of each regiment, right, serve as advisors to the lieutenants. Okay. With a sole exception, these advisors are in charge of bases throughout the country. Okay. So there's let's see. Given their responsibilities at the bases, they didn't participate in the revival party in Daika City, or Deca City. I guess it's Daika City, but I'm not sure. But their abilities surpass those of the average hero. Okay. All right, let's see. So the Vanguard Action Tactics Regiment, black. Okay, so they each got a color. Each like regiment gets a color. So the Black Regiment, I guess, is led by Twice, and Twice has 3 individuals under him. And there are other individuals under those individuals. Okay. All right. So Twice is a leader. Dobby is a leader, and it looks like there are 2 for. And it makes sense because like Twice, like there's like multiple, like he can make like multiple copies of himself. So I guess that's why he's like on his own. But so that's interesting. But it looks like that's an interesting pairing. It looks that very interesting pairing that Dobby is paired with Ice Dude, or the one who can like control like water and stuff. Okay, with the sole exception, these advisors are in charge of bases throughout the country. Vanguard Action Guerrilla Warfare Regiment, Violet. So the 2 folks that are sort of like leading that regiment. It looks like there were 2 people leading the Carmine regiment. I'm not sure who. Oh, okay. I recognize that person. Okay. And Toga is sort of like one of those leaders. All right, and then there are people under them. This is interesting. Very interesting. Very cool designs. I like this. So like sort of like I'll talk about the designs and at the end of the chapter, and sort of like a little bit about that. Let's see. And the Vanguard Action Support Regiment, Brown. Looks like Compress and Spinner. Okay, interesting. That's a good combo. I like that. That's a pretty good combo. All right, let's move on. If they make the first move, we lose. You know what I love? Like, I'm gonna save all these sort of like comments for the end of the video. I should like really get a pad and just write this stuff down so I can just kind of get into a flow. But every time I see something, I always feel like I have to like say it right then and there. And that's just kind of like me. Like that's kind of how I've always been with stuff like this. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it at the end of the chapter. All right, because there are a lot of things that Horikoshi is doing already that are just, I think, really, really cool. If they make the first move, we lose. Okay. Despite the constant surveillance limiting his actions, Hawks was able to learn about the members without drawing suspicion, thanks to the interpersonal skills drilled into him from a young age by the Safety Commission. And what he observed was animosity and resentment toward the current system. Okay. Individual freedom should reign supreme. We're going to destroy the status quo. Something like that, yeah? Oh. Also, a word or two about loyalty to Redestro. Huh? Since it's him and his bloodline that managed to unite all these people. If I ain't feeling it, I ain't saying it. Yo, Twice. This is why I love Twice. You don't necessarily, like, you have a sense of like what to sort of expect from him, but that sense is very sort of, it's complicated. It's like a complicated sense because you might get like one sort of part of sort of Twice's personality and a different part of Twice's personality, and like you never know which one you're going to get at any given moment. Necessarily not most of the time, right? Sometimes because of sort of like story beats and stuff like that. But yeah. But yeah, shout out to Twice. Okay. So I just gotta sing the guy's praises. Awesome. Thanks a bunch. No problem. There is one more specific goal. Bringing down the status quo means annihilating all heroes. Ooh. Very interesting to show All Might, right? Because he's already lost his abilities, but he's still very much so a symbol, right? Like still very much so a symbol. So very, very interesting. Okay. They plan to attack all major cities at once throughout the nation. With society brought to a lawless standstill, Redestro and the Hearts and Mind Party will storm the political world. They will distribute weapons and extol the virtues of self-defense, calling it true freedom. Just as when laws lost their meaning following the advent of the exceptional, these people will throw the world into chaos and enthrone Shigaraki atop the rubble. The second coming of All for One. Yo, Hawks spitting facts. Hawks really spitting facts. Like, yo. I think what's interesting is like, we kind of already had an idea of that this is what All for One was doing, right? Like this is how he sort of did things. But I think it's great that we sort of get to see some of this stuff through Shigaraki, right? Like I'm not saying like this is great or anything like that, but as a story, you do want to see certain things like play out. So it's great that we're gonna sort of get to see that play out. I think we will. You're doing stellar work, man. I knew you were a swell guy. It's thanks to you that the pieces are in place. Jin Bubai-Garawa. Wait, Bubai-Gawara. Yeah, Bubai-Garawa. Yeah, okay. Wow. And he's like, right, yo, Twice, yo. You know what I think? Again, I'll talk about it at the end of the chapter. There's so many things that I want to say. I'm gonna have to like write some of the stuff down. I'm gonna start doing that. Like I'm just gonna like putting stuff down. After this stream, lot to talk about. When I heard that you conquered your trauma, a chill ran down my spine. Because at that moment, you went from being just another 2-bit villain to the asset we ought to fear the most. I know that you're a good-natured guy. For a hero, you sure know a lot about the Liberation Army. Okay. All right, so he says, I know that you're a good-natured guy. So we shift to Twice. Okay. For a hero, you sure know a lot about the Liberation Army. Why is that? Because I empathize with their cause. The world I once admired and dreamt of joining turned out to be a birdcage locking me up. I want to fly free. A cage isn't where I belong. God, I wish they'd stop spying on you and let you meet Shigaraki. You. Okay. I wonder why I haven't gotten to meet him yet. He's powering up in some mountain near Kyoto. It's gonna take 4 months. That's off the record, yeah? I know Mr. Long Black Hair is listening in, but whatever, it's fine. I mean, you're working yourself to the bone for us already. I get how you feel. Hey, Hawks. Anyone who helps his friends can't be all bad. And since I know you're a good... Right, okay. You... I get how you feel. And since I know you're a good-natured guy, let's fly free together. Oh, there's a statue of All Might. That's awesome. Ready to try your best as a first year Dai? Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Is this like someone who's gonna... I guess it's someone who's gonna go to UA, I guess? Because there's an All Might statue. I feel like the only place where that would like exist is like the UA like academy. You know what I mean? Like like it would like anywhere else in this in the country. I guess, but I feel like UA is like the place where you would see a statue of All Might. You know what I mean? To sort of like inspire the next generation of heroes, that sort of thing. And there's like this little kid, and he's like, you know, ready to try your best as a first year. He's probably a UA student or a new UA student. And look at all these heroes, yo. Very cool, very nice panel, very nice panel. Okay. Spring break's almost over, huh? We're going on a trip for our work study. Oh, you're right. You girls too? For real? Same here. We've also got a trip planned for that day. Huh? What's up with that? Hang on. Us too. Me too. They're heroes in those foothills. We're gonna back them up and help evacuate the city. Whoa. Yo, look at that. Yo. Look at this shot, though. Look at this panel. This is a panel. This is like a... This is like legit like a panel you would see like a cover page, like a panel. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. We got some really good panels this chapter. Chapter 258 end. Yo. Let's see who's here. Let's see who's here. All right, Shoddy. Yo, BDV. What's good? What's good? What's good? My guy. What's up? Man. This is true. This is true. In terms of like being like a teacher, Endeavor, like he just outclasses quite a few folks that we've seen before. You know what I mean? Just like in terms of someone who like helps students, you know, learn stuff. Let's see. Oh, Gaten. Okay. Thanks, Shadi. I don't know if I can trust Twice leading any kind of group. Yeah. It's interesting because I think like I think Twice is like the kind of leader who, when the chips are down, you can count on him. You know what I mean? Like there are leaders that you see in different stories who, you know, don't necessarily seem capable when it comes to like when you see them like having conversations with other people and that sort of thing, and when you compare them with other leaders, right? Like Hawks is a leader, right? So when you compare Twice with Hawks, you're like, yo, Twice doesn't really measure up, like initially, right? Like on a surface sort of level. But when you've seen him in certain situations, right, time and time again, I think he does step up. He does step up, you know. And I think that one of the reasons why they do like put him in sort of that leadership position is because when the chips are down, Twice is an individual that you want on the front lines. You want him leading because he can defend. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like sort of the general that you kind of want on the front lines, all right? Like you want him on the front lines because you can kind of count on him to like in terms of his like fighting ability, in terms of his combat prowess. We're gonna talk about a few things. So we're gonna go through the chapter. There's a lot here. So I think like Twice is a great lead for one of these what do they call it again? Let me go back. Dun, 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 dun. Regiments, right? So he's a great leader for one of these regiments. So again, it's like he's got advisors, and this is the sort of thing, right? Like when you are you often have that in like different organizations, and it doesn't really matter what sort of organization that's being run or that has different divisions and stuff like that. You always have like someone who is leading that particular division, and then those leaders of those divisions have advisors under them, or people that people that advise them. So one thing that's important to note about being a leader is that you have to know when to take advice and who you should have in your corner giving you advice, right? So like Twice is great because Twice knows like, oh, I'm not really sure how I should approach this, so I'm going to go and ask someone else how I should do that, because that's the right thing to do. You don't just go like, right? Like if you're a leader, you need to know like what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And if you're not doing that at any level, like you're gonna be a terrible leader. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm teaching and like I and let's say like let's say if I was a teacher and for whatever reason I was like not so great at math, but I could like understand certain things like fairly quickly. As a teacher, I would go like, let's say like as a teacher, I would go and try to find individuals who are great at that math, who could help me get better at that particular at teaching that particular subject, and to get to the place that I need to get to, right before I go and enter a classroom or anything like that and start teaching children like the wrong things. So I think Twice is fine. He's fine where he is, but I think we know that at some point, stuff like crap's gonna hit the fan, and he's gonna have to figure some things out, and he'll be all right. He'll be all right. But ultimately, I think like his story is sort of one that is destined to not end so well because he's a villain and he's working with these villains, and it just won't end well. It just won't end. It just won't end well. You know what I mean? Like as far as like the villains are sort of concerned. All right. And I think Twice's story is gonna be particularly somber. Like we're gonna feel that, right? Like Twice's downfall, we're gonna feel that. Well, at least some of us will. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So, Twice is kind of like he kind of like Eli Manning. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's not a nice enough person, and like he's done he's got feats on like when the chips are down, Eli Manning comes through like to play. Like he's won 2 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? So kind of yeah. He's like a great fourth quarter kind of like leader where he's like, all right, like what are we supposed to do? Who am I gonna get to help? Right, and he doesn't really have he doesn't really have the mental instability like now. That's right, but like again, like Twice is still sort of figuring certain things out in terms of how to be an effective leader. So that's why he went to Hawks for help. Okay, so a few things I wanted to talk about. I think the regiment stuff is really interesting because that adds that adds a nice dynamic to the story, and it allows Horikoshi to to focus on particular characters that he might not have had the time to focus on if he hadn't introduced these regiments, right? Like if he was just like, all right, here's a liberation army and this is what they're gonna do, and they're all gonna just come through, and then we're just randomly gonna introduce these folks when the battle is like already started and It's like now it's very organized, so Horikoshi can sort of map out in a much more organized in an organized way the story beats and the plot points and who we're going to see and when we're going to see them. I think that's just great. I love seeing stuff like that. Like whenever you see like these factions and organized in certain ways, that like the Virgo in me is like, yes, organization. You know what I mean? I love that stuff. All right. So the regiments are great. We see that there are so many awesome designs that this is going to sort of lead into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. There are a few things that I want to talk about, but the next thing I wanted to talk about is the designs. And I think the designs are so cool because when you look at all of these individuals, what you can sort of tell almost immediately is that some of these folks are just like, yo, I don't I like some of these folks do not have jobs. Like in the societal sense, right? In the societal sense, they don't have jobs. They don't. No, they don't have jobs. All right. And a lot of that has to do with right like discrimination and and prejudice towards like individuals with particular right, with quirks that manifest in a physical sort of way, right, in a bodily sort of way, that are right, and that sort of thing, and so it's like, all right, so those individuals are probably very like specialized and have abilities that are useful, but they're not necessarily people who are sort of like assimilated within like corporations or companies or anything like that. Like they're not like the CEOs or the CFOs or anything like that. And then you have the individuals in these panels who are like they're wearing suits. They look normal, right? Like they look generally unsuspecting. Like if you look at the panel with Dabi and Giten in right in the Violet regiment, right? Like you see this one guy, he's got a suit and tie, no hair, but like he bald, right? He bald. He's just an unassuming bald dude, who's just probably like works at an organization or a corporation, right, related to Detnerat and all that, right? So it's stuff like that, and littered throughout, you see other individuals who have a similar aesthetic, and that's what's sort of like unnerving about these panels. It's that it's not just okay. Here are these regiments, right, and here are the leaders of these regiments who are like all like pretty dope, like pretty dope in terms of villains, right, and it's not just that. It's like all of these folks have a very particular role. Right, all these folks have a very particular role. Not only are they advisors, but they're also, right, like, but they're also, they also have other roles, like in terms of like getting ready for this massive attack that's gonna happen very soon, right? So like it's very sort of deft what Horikoshi is doing, and yeah, again. You know what I mean? Like, shouts out, BDV. You already know what it is when it comes to the Scooby snacks. All right, I do not like Scooby snacks. That's dog food. I don't eat dog food. Okay, I don't eat dog food. All right. So, okay, so that's something that I think is really cool. It's just like a nice touch, and I think it sort of reminds me of something that comic book creators often say is that when they would love it if readers of their works took their time to read the works that to read the work that they've created, right? Because like they put in so much effort into creating sort of each and every panel, thinking about why a panel is constructed in the way that it is, what's the point, what's the purpose of it in terms of the story, plot, that sort of character development, that sort of thing. So I think one thing I'm trying to do is just kind of slow it down a little bit, take my time, think about what it is that I'm noticing and why I'm noticing it, that sort of thing. I mean, I do that already, but I think like while I'm reacting, I'm trying to do that. I mean, Shaggy's a weirdo though. You know what I mean? Like Shaggy's not someone that like I'm looking at. I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be Shaggy when I grow up. You know what I mean? Like I definitely want to be someone who eats dog food and like looks like he has like no goals. But eating sandwiches, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's just me though. But if you like Shaggy, it's fine. It's not big, no big deal. All right. Just because I'm not like a huge like fan of Shaggy or anything like that does not mean anybody else can't be a fan of Shaggy. I'm just saying Shaggy does not instill confidence. Nor is he someone that I would want to be a mentor to anybody. Right? So there's that. But I think that's something I really, really liked. Another thing I really wanted to talk about is just this really awesome start to the chapter and the interactions. This is the stuff that I feel someone I know on Twitter, Yuma Arclight. Some of you might know him. And one thing he noted about sort of like the differences in terms of looking at different popular battle shonen manga that are ongoing at the moment is the ways in which like you know, if you look at like like the stuff that sort of Oda's been doing recently, like a lot of it's been sort of like jam packed. There are little things. It's like too much. And I think what you get in like the sort of like the difference between that and My Hero is that you get a lot. Like it's not just that like Horikoshi doesn't like info dump, you know, 3 or 4 pages or anything like that, right? Like he's like, all right, here's one page and here are the regiments, and this is how they're organized, and like, so, you know, for future reference and that sort of thing. And he doesn't take very long to do that, right? He's like, all right, here's a panel and that's what we do. Okay. And when it comes to sort of like One Piece, what I've noticed is that there'll be like things that are info dump, but I'm like, I don't really understand what like why this is like incredibly important or even particularly useful information at this point in time, right? You know what I mean? It's like when we learned that the sea stone was that the sea stone had that sea stone originates in Wano. It's like, why do I care about that at the moment? Like I'm not interested. You know what I mean? It's like you could have said that at any other point in time during the story, but like you had to say it because, oh, you know, Hawkins just happened to have some like needles that he could, like it just felt so like it's like that's the kind of stuff that just feels inorganic. And like why is Hawkins saying that to Law? Why is he saying that at all? Why does he have to say that? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for him to tell Law that at all. For what? For what reason? What was the reason? What is the reason though? And you see that littered throughout more recent the recent chapters of One Piece. You see just like bits and pieces that are just like dropped in there for absolutely no reason. There's no reason why this character should be saying like thing A, you know, should be like saying thing A or thing B, but it just feels inorganic. It's a little corny, and then you sit there thinking like, why is this bit of information important right now? Like when you could have said that a while ago, and then when we got to Wano, we'd have been like, oh, we already knew that Sea Stone was in, you know, like had originated in Wano, so that's something not to look, you know, that's something to look out for. And then Oda could have done something else related to Sea Stone, as opposed to just introducing that fact and then never going back to that fact again. It's like, yeah, it's a little corny. And like I can get to like other reasons, but let me get back to My Hero. But like here, right, like what you notice is that the panels like are full of information, but they're like useful information for the narrative moment that we're in and for the very near future, right? Like the very near future, not you know, 400 chapters later, 300 chapters later, like very, very near future, like maybe 20, maybe 25 chapters, maybe 50 chapters, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that I really appreciate in a long running shonen. Like I think like there's like mysteries that are great for mystery's sake, but then it's also just like, yo, like I'm not gonna be waiting around for 300 something chapters for you to talk about like why this hat is important. Like I'm like, get out of here. All right. So, okay. You know, so when it comes to the stuff that like is happening at the beginning of this chapter, in relation to that, Twice and Hawks are having this very just like organic conversation. But what you love about that conversation is that it's like Horikoshi's done this great layering, right? And that to me this is like proper writing, where it's like well, not, I don't want to say proper writing, but it's just nice. It's just good writing. It's just good quality writing, where it's like not only is just very par for the course for My Hero Academia, right? Like we see this all the time where characters are just having conversations and randomly making jokes, and their personality comes through in those conversations. But it's also like Hori like dropped the bit of information that's like, oh, Hawks learned how to talk like this. It's not just that like Hawks is a great conversationalist and he's like a decent person or anything like that. It's that Hawks was quite literally trained to be a conversationalist, right? And like that's so and not only is that important for just Hawks' character in general, because it just adds so many layers, because you can never know when Hawks is being real, right? We like there's always this. It's not a mystery so much. I don't want to call it a mystery, but like a mistrust. Like it's this constant lack of trust when it comes to Hawks. It's like I like him as a character, but I'm also like, Hawks, can I trust you though? Like I'm constantly like, can I trust Hawks? And this is the thing that Horikoshi is sort of set up. He's like, yo, this dude is trained to, like, he's an agent. He is a spy. That is who he is. You already know, right? When you read spy stories before My Hero, you know you can't trust spies. You can't really trust spies like that, right? You can't trust them until that pivotal moment. Every spy and every narrative like that you probably read always has that pivotal moment where you're like, oh, that's the real dude. That's a real spy right there. That's the real femme fatale right there. Like that's what's going on right now. Like this person is like, is dealing with, whatever it is that they're dealing with, and like they have to like be real right now or they're screwed. You know what I mean? And Hawks hasn't really gotten that moment yet, I don't think, but we know that that's coming, and it's gonna be a really great moment. It's gonna be a yo moment, like as like King of Lightning would say, it's gonna be a yo moment. Okay, so I love that like Horikoshi has sort of just again definitely sort of introduced that. It's not just, right. It's like on one level, right? Hawks is like, I like you, Twice. You seem like a cool guy. On another level, it's like, I know you're a cool guy and I like you, so that's gonna make it easier for me to use you. Ooh, that your heart just goes. Oh, my heart, yo. Someone just, when he said that at the end, like near the end of the chapter, he was like, yo, it's gonna make you easy. It just makes it easier to use, man. Thank you for being so useful as a tool. Heart, ripped out chest, thrown on floor, stomped on. Like, that hurt me. Okay? It really did. And again, this is what Horikoshi is doing. It's depth. It's never like, oh, we're going to wait 200 chapters to see like all this play itself out or anything like that. It's like, no. This is going to play itself out within that narrative moment. It's going to be done well and it's fine. And I love that. So kudos. All right. So that's great. And again, it's like, but what's also great is that like, again, it's like Twice is a villain. Twice is a villain. Hawks is a hero. So again, Horikoshi is always making us, always forcing us to think about, again, what does it mean to be a hero? What does it mean to be a villain? We understand this from like pretty much from very early on, right? Like that Horikoshi is sort of pushing that. And we've seen that so many, in so many different ways. But I love what's going on right now, because you're just like, yo, Hawks, I love you, but I don't like you right now. Like, you're using Twice and I like Twice, so screw you. You know what I mean? But it's great. It's great. It's really good. It's really good stuff. And again, it's also just like everything that Hawks is doing is it's all very calculated, right? This is the thing. It's like, even though like Hawks is helping this person out, you always got to be like, yeah, I know you're helping this person out, but you're also helping this person out because you're a spy and you've been trained to like do these things effectively. So, and I mean, so I love that. And again, it's just very organic. It's because again, My Hero has set itself up as a series that does this all the time. Just conversations between individuals, having information shown through these conversations, but in a way that is organic, right? It's like when All Might or Deku's talking about the limits of one for all, right? It's like it's always them talking. Usually, it's them talking with each other about it, right? It's never like, oh, Deku's talking with like random stranger, B, about how his powers work and that sort of thing. It's like, okay, there's a reason why we're talking about these abilities, and it's because Deku is actively working on how to make his abilities stronger and that sort of thing. So it's great. You know what I mean? So I love what's sort of happening here. The conversation is very organic, and you get these little panels that are just very like comical, right? It's like you get these little panels, but there are reasons for it, right? It's like when Twice is like, come here. It's like, that's a little panel, and it's very different from like some of the other little panels that you see when it comes to, let's say, like what's happening with One Piece, and when you see like individuals just like in a crowd in a little panel, and it's like, I don't need to really see the crowd in that little panel. It's like, if anything, like make like a bigger panel with that crowd. I understand that like it takes work, right? So I get how like maybe you want to mitigate the work that you have to do in terms of creating the manga chapter. I do understand it from that perspective, but I think like again, it's like these little panels they have a lot of impact, but you don't need to like pack in like a ton of stuff within those panels. And when you look at some of these panels, right? Like some of the panels are, just interactions between Twice and Hawks, very quick sort of reactions that do what they need to do, and then we move on fairly quickly. If we do get a small panel with a lot of stuff in it, it's a very small, like, sort of like flashback panel that, we can sort of go back to, and that's fine. So we don't need like another massive, like, splash panel, all right, for a flashback panel, so it's good. It's good. But Hawks is just doing very, very, very deft work. He's like an amazing spy. He's so good at what he's doing. But what I also would think is that what's going on here is like Twice had said something that he said something about what Shigaraki was doing, and this is another thing that I wanted to talk about closer to the end of the chapter, and I earlier, like in like earlier chapters, right, like when the Liberation Front was created, I had said that like Hawks was actively trying to get more information, to see what was going on, to learn what was going on. And the thing about that is, Hawks is clearly using Twice, right? And I think a lot of us agree that I think Hawks does like Twice genuinely. But again, there's this mistrust that's there with Hawks. But I think we also have to realize that I think folks know. I think there are some folks within this Liberation Front that know that Hawks is a spy. They have to be aware that Hawks is at some level is a spy, and they're probably using individuals like Twice as sort of like bait, as sort of like a way to sort of funnel misinformation, right? And this happens all the time within sort of like Cold War tactics and the like and stuff like that, where you spread misinformation, to an individual that you believe is an informant or a double agent for another country or another institution or whatever, so that they get the wrong information, and then they get the wrong information, and then they'll act in a way that's beneficial to the individual entity that disseminated that information. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's sort of going on here. That's what's going on here to me. That would be a very sort of like I think that's something that's pretty predictable. But I don't think it's a bad thing, right? Because it's like, I think that's how it should play out. I think Hawks' narrative is one that is sort of doomed for not failure. I don't want to say failure, but it's not a happy. It's not gonna be a happy ending. I think a lot of us are aware that it's not gonna be a happy ending for Hawks. I think and a few people believe, right? A few people believe, right, that Hawks he's gonna get it. It's not gonna end well for Hawks. He's probably gonna end up in Nomu or something. You know what I mean? I hope he doesn't, because that would be devastating. But it's what it is. All right. I want to say there was a couple of things that I also wanted to talk about. Let's see. All right. Again. Right? Just like Hawks always sort of saying yo, if they make the first move, if we don't get ahead of them, if we don't figure out what we gonna really do to deal with this situation, we're going to lose. And it's it's not just that we're going to lose some battle and that it is what it is, right? It's like when you read other shonen sort of manga and factions lose a battle, right? And I would say One Piece did this sort of did it well. I feel like there could have been some things that could have been done better, but I do think that one thing that One Piece did really well in terms of in comparison to other shonen manga when it came to sort of Marineford and what was going on there, is just the ripple effects that war had, right? It wasn't just here is this big battle and then people died and that's sad, but people just if you only have people dying and then they die and then you mourn and then that's it. That's not it's not enough in a story sense. It's impactful and it's it's heartbreaking and stuff like that, right? A la Ace, but you need to have those ripple effects that Oda sort of like introduced after the fact, right? So I think like Hawks like very much so is just like, yo, if we lose, it doesn't just mean we're gonna lose like some heroes are gonna die and then we're gonna have to pick up the pieces and replace those heroes with other heroes in a very basic sort of sense. It's like if we lose, this society is gonna be gone. Like gone. Like this is gonna be like some world war like type stuff. Like it's not gonna end well at all. Okay? And I think it's one of those moments where we really get to see and think about just like the consequences of battles of war. Like I think we're really gonna see that within this story. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. All right, I'm telling you, it's gonna rival Marineford. It's gonna rival Marineford. I'm telling y'all. All right, it's gonna rival Marineford. Okay, so I have that feeling. I think it's gonna rival Marineford, yo. I think it's gonna rival Marineford. All right, you heard it here. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Today's gonna be Shigaraki's grown. He's definitely grown. Okay, and we've seen that. And when we see him again, it's gonna be, whoo boy, like yo, he is going through like quite the metamorphosis, like both like literally and figuratively. So somebody's gonna die in this war. And a few people are gonna die in this war. We're gonna see that. We know that. Okay, who's gonna die? We don't know. But I think we could also expect to see some Nomu, or to see at least one Nomu. And when we see that Nomu, it's gonna break our hearts. It's gonna break our hearts, right? I think people have a feeling that it might be like Best Jeanist, and Best Jeanist might be one of those Nomu. Ooh, we don't want him to be dead, but you know what I mean. We don't want Best Jeanist to be dead, but ooh. All right. Yeah, the traitor should be getting revealed pretty soon. I think did Horikoshi forget about the traitor? And even still, like I think like that's a storyline that can be brought back pretty quickly here, right? So there's definitely like some sort of traitor, and like that traitor will be related to the trap that BDV said, like that the trap that the heroes are, to me, clearly falling in, right? Because like they're preparing, they're doing all this stuff, but like it just feels generic. It feels like generic preparation. You know what I mean? And like generic preparation ain't enough. It's not enough here. In terms of like Shigaraki's transformation, his growth, his the initial growth against Redestro, and this subsequent growth in terms of the doctor working on him. Oh Lord, it's gonna be rough. And then all these regiments that are sort of set up again. All this stuff is just like misinformation. Like not all of it, but like some of it. Some of it is just like it's sad because the heroes are gonna fall into a trap, and it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. Okay. So okay, apparently that was a fake interview spread on time. Okay, thank you for that. Good. So that reveal is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right, I also wanted to say that like it was sort of telling that like Hawks said that that one of their goals is to bring down the status quo, which would mean annihilating like all heroes, right? Like they're like very much so in a sort of anarchist kind of mindset. I mean, or at least a decent number of them have an anarchist sort of mindset, like politically, but some of them don't necessarily. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But I think those individuals that do have that mindset are like, All Might gotta die. That's how they feel. Right? Most notably Shigaraki. Okay? So All Might's gonna die very soon, and he's not gonna die in his sleep or peaceful or anything like that. It's not gonna be peaceful, unfortunately. It's not gonna be peaceful. Okay? We were sort of spared Nana's death, right? right? Like we were sort of spared her death. Like I think which is great because I didn't need to see that. Okay, but All Might is not. I'm not looking forward to that at all. He's gonna die and it's not gonna be good. It ain't gonna be good, y'all. Okay, so and it's not. Sorry, babe. I know. Talking to my fiance, but like it's like, all right. The symbol of peace, the hero of all heroes. Okay, the Superman of My Hero Academia. Okay, so I think that's pretty much like everything that I sort of wanted to talk about. There are probably other things that I could talk about, but I think that for now, it is it's good. I mean, like, you know, talking about like Hawks and Hawks being wary of Twice, right? Like again, it's very important that, you know, like again, all of these conversations that Hawks is having with Twice, just very like you don't know if you can trust Twice. Like not Twice, you don't know if you can trust Hawks, right? Like you just don't know. You just don't know. Okay, because he's saying one thing and then he says another thing, and once he's like, "I really like you," Twice, but then he's also saying a chill ran down my spine because you were one of the most pivotal sort of entities to the leading up to the destruction of like society. You know what I mean? It's like he at once Twice is like at once Hawk is like, "You're a nice guy." And then he's like, "You are like literally a massive piece leading up to like a catalyst for the destruction of society." You know what I mean? It's like, yo, that's like a massive contradiction, right? And that's sort of representative of like who Hawks is as a character, and we've seen that time and time again. So again, I like Hawks, but I don't trust him at all. Right, and that's what Horikoshi is sort of like presenting, right? So I'm gonna stop there. But this chapter was great. The chapter was dope. All right. Yo. All right. Yeah. Somebody gonna kill All Might. Yeah. Oh, yo, Super Dad. Yo, that would be so devastating if Shigaraki killed All Might and then he pointed at Deku and was like, "You're next." Yo, I would be like, "Damn, Horikoshi, you didn't have to do him like that. Like, you really did not." But that would be intense. Okay, all right. But yeah, All Might, like, right? It's like All Might is now a teacher to Deku, and it's like he's trying to do right by him. But I think in a lot of ways, All Might's kind of like taught Deku a decent amount of what he needs to know. I think. From him, because there are other teachers that Deku has that can teach him certain things, and yeah, you know what I mean. Like, so I wouldn't say All Might sort of like overstayed his welcome, but he kind of overstayed his welcome, right? Like in terms of All Might who he is right now. But I think that the last chapter where he was like, "I kind of want to live a little longer," that's like a massive death flag. Like when folks are like, "I want to live a little longer, even though I'm dying." That's like a massive death flag. It sucks, but it's like, oh, Horikoshi, come on. All right. So that was rough. That was great to see, and it was heartwarming. But like when you think about it after the fact, you're like, "Oh, All Might's gonna die soon. He's gonna die soon." Okay. So yeah. And I think again, Deku has other teachers that are doing a great job teaching him. So All Might has left what he needs to. I think All Might has left what he needed to leave. To Deku, and yeah, and so when he dies, it won't be like, "Oh, there was so much more that All Might needed to do." It's like, not really, because he did what he needed to do. He like punched all for one into oblivion, put him in a jail cell. You know what I mean? So yeah, all right, he did what he had to do. Threw them hands, got all for one out of here. All right, did what I could not do, did what I wanted to do. All right. And he is where he is. Okay, so I think that's everything that I kind of wanted to say about this chapter. But the ending, I think that's something that like it's just well done. I talked about it, at length in this video, but I'm gonna stop here. All right. So I said what I want to say about the chapter and what I thought about different parts of the chapter. I'm gonna try to do that more often in the video. But I think what I might start doing is I might start doing chapter reviews. I might start like live reacting to the chapter, and then also doing chapter reviews and just sort of talking about like how I feel about the chapter and different parts, because I do miss that. Like, I do want to sort of sit with the chapters and think about what's sort of going on with the chapter, and what are the implications of particular plot points and story beats and that sort of thing. All right, so I'll get back to that at some point. Okay, let me get out of here. Thank you for coming through to my live reaction of My Hero Academia, chapter 258. This was a great chapter. And again, this is the kind of stuff that, to me, One Piece needs more of. It needs to be stronger. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff needs to be more organic. It needs, like, the characters that are introduced have to have just a depth to them that's more than just like, oh, this character is related to that other character, and that other character is related to that other character who's really important to the narrative. Like, it's like, okay, we get it. One Piece is sprawling and it's very connected and yada yada yada. It's like, yo, you're close to writing 1,000 chapters, Oda. Like, you got to do more than that, and you've done that in the past. But like, keep it going, okay? Keep introducing dope characters. All right, don't introduce these bum characters that I don't like. Okay, that folks don't like, that are kind of whack. All right. Okay, let me get out of here. Thank you for coming through. All right. I'll get to other reactions during the week. Okay. I'm a Black Manga Critic. Shouts out to Shadi for coming through. Shouts out to Supernova for coming through. Yeah, I am caught up to One Piece. I went back to it because I was like, because folks were like, well, you can't critique it if you haven't read it. And like, I thought about that and I was like, I didn't want to admit that because I was kind of being like petty and prideful, I think, in a lot of ways. But those folks were right. It was like, I can't critique it if I don't know what's going on. So I was like, all right, let me just get back to reading it. But definitely like this. Y'all know how I feel about what's going on right now in terms of One Piece. Y'all already know. I just don't react to the chapters because I think there's something about I'm not enjoying this stuff. And the only part of the reasons why I'm reading it now is because I do want to know what's going on, so that when folks are like, oh, this stuff is amazing, I can be like, nah, that's trash. All right, and I can be like, well, I have read this stuff and it's trash. If only to do that. If only to be petty in that way. Because I can be a pretty petty person when it comes to certain things. This is one of those things. So you already know what it is. All right. Yeah, that's just kind of where I am on that. But I have no intention of reacting to One Piece chapters in the future because I just don't think it's useful, and I'm not gonna waste my time doing it. Reacting is fun, but it also takes time and energy, and I'm not gonna put that time and energy into to react and review One Piece. I'm not doing that. But I can read it on my own. It doesn't take me very long to do that. So here's what it is. All right. All right. Let me get out of here. Okay. I'm a Black Manga Critic. Thank you for coming through. Shadi, my guy. Supernova, thank you for coming through. All right. And of course my guy BDV. All right. Shouts out to BDV. Dude's always in my corner. Love you, man. All right. And same to Shadi. All right. So thank y'all for coming through. All right. The Black Manga Critic. I'll get to other reactions in due time. And I am out,